I covered a story recently about how Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie finally got their 218th vote in the House to bring the release of the Epstein files vote to the floor for a vote. Rahul Grijalva died a few months ago, and they had a special election for his seat in New Mexico, and his daughter won in a fucking landslide. It was amazing. It was like by 47 points. It was just a routing. Anyways, so now with Rahul Grijalva's daughter in that position, she is that 218th vote to get this vote on the House floor, something that Mike Johnson and Donald Trump have been desperately trying to stop. Anyway, I wanted to get to this little story. There was recently, from Bloomberg here, a trove of emails was just released. They are all Jeff Epstein's emails from a Yahoo account. And let's see here. Let's read this. FOIA's file is back. FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. For the past few weeks, 6 of my colleagues and I have been buried in emails, more than 18,000 emails, of them from the personal Yahoo account of disgraced financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. You still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That creep, the financier? You're still talking about this guy? Oh, yeah. We're still talking about him, dog. I'll bring it up anytime something pops up. I'm going to absolutely talk about this because I know you don't want to. On Thursday, we published an in-depth story about previous unreported trove, which was obtained by Bloomberg News. The emails contain revelatory, often chilling details about the intricate facets of the Epstein life and his partnership with socialite Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of Mossad spy. God, man, she's a wretched woman. I hope that you'll consider giving it a read. If you're not already getting FOIA files in your inbox, sign up here. By highlighting Epstein's cache of emails, I'm straying a bit from the central theme of FOIA files, which is to showcase documents that I've pried loose from government agencies. These emails were not the result of a FOIA request. Still, sharing some of the contents of Epstein's inbox is in keeping with the spirit of this newsletter, transparency, which is sorely lacking as it relates to the Epstein case. No shit. As noted in a couple of recent editions. The emails from Epstein's inbox span a 20-year time frame, but the message traffic is most active between 2005 and 2008. There were that, if you keep in mind, that was the time where he was getting busted for his first time, where he got that sweetheart deal by Acosta, Trump's former labor secretary, who gave him the prison sentence of only going to prison for 8 hours a day while he slept in like it was a hotel room, and then he get to go out on work furlough. A convicted sex offender going out on work furlough, that never happens, but Jeffrey Epstein got that sweetheart deal. And that was around that time frame. There are indications that many of the emails were deleted. Notably, Epstein and Maxwell exchanged at least 650 emails, about 203 of which were from the first 6 months of 2008, just as Epstein's attorneys were trying to kill the federal investigation into him, which he got immunity from, and he got the sweetheart prison deal. Notably, those messages undercut Maxwell's own narrative about her diminished role in Epstein's life after he was charged with sex crimes involving minors. So she ended up, I stopped talking to him after he was convicted, but she didn't. She continued to advise him and help him and hang out with him and continue to bring him girls. All of the things that she says, and Donald Trump wasn't even around. He was a real gentleman when I met him. And I've never even seen Donald Trump around with any of these parties. It was just all for Jeffrey Epstein. And I only did it for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, can you please move me to this country club prison where we play cricket out in the backyard and maybe have a day of petting cats? Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Notably, those are the messages undercut Maxwell's own narrative and diminish her role as Epstein was charged with sex crimes involving minors. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence after the jury found her recruited and groomed women and girls for Epstein to sexually abuse. Here's a truncated version of our investigation, a handful of key takeaways from the cache. Epstein's abuse has been well documented, but the emails detailed methodically and callous approach he took to recruiting young women. His female contacts and assistants sent him steady streams of photographs and descriptions of women like this one. Nice personality, student, a little curvy, Russian, 19. This is from Ghislaine Maxwell. Sometimes he was more expansive. Fat, Asian, sorry, he wrote in one email. Okay, this is blank. Can you please forward Jeffrey info about her? She's 19, Russian, from Odessa. It already sounds bad. Came here with parents when she was 1.5. They mean 15 or a year and a half. Lives in Brooklyn. I met her in blank when I went to admission office there. So she's going to, that sounds like a high school or college admission office there. She is not a big girl, but a little curvy, 5'8", 130 pounds, pretty face, long brown hair, hazel eyes, and very important, she knows everybody in such and such. She studies their public affairs, and she works in freshman office and guides all blanks freshmen, and she knows many of the girls in Brooklyn as well. She is very friendly, and I already told her that she could be rewarded for help with her girlfriends, and she said that she can do it, but at first needs to try herself to see what it is. What? To come in and give Jeffrey Epstein a massage and a hand job? Because that's what this has always been about. This is what he does. They prey on people's weaknesses. They find out what their weak spots are. They find out what they want, what they need. A lot of these girls were homeless or nearly homeless. They were coming from broken homes, coming from abusive families, coming from poverty, and they exploit that. Ghislaine Maxwell exploited that, used that to recruit them, bring them in, and then get sexually abused. And then when they got too old for Jeffrey Epstein, so I guess over 20, they're too old for Jeffrey Epstein, then they used them to recruit other girls like it was some kind of sexual assault Ponzi scheme. Wants to be a model and an actress, as she told me. Nice personality, easygoing. What else? She doesn't smoke. Maxwell and Epstein's criminal charges. Maxwell has said repeatedly that she kept in the dark about the details of Epstein's initial sexual abuse cases in the mid-2000s, yet the emails demonstrate how she helped him strategize over even the most consequential details. Question. Epstein wrote to her on May 23, 2008, which one do you prefer, lewd and lascivious conduct or procuring minors for prostitution? By the way, that was one of the things that she used in her trial. She kept calling all of these young girls that she recruited for Jeffrey Epstein, she kept calling them prostitutes, hoping to bias the jury. Oh, well, they're all prostitutes anyway. They're all bad people. They all knew what they were getting into. Even if they are underage, they're still prostitutes. At the time, Epstein's defense lawyers were closing in on a generous plea deal with federal and state officials in Florida, and Epstein was trying to negotiate the state charges to which he'd pled guilty. Maxwell's response was a matter of fact. I suppose lewd and lascivious conduct. I would prefer lewd and lascivious contact with a prostitute if possible. Maxwell's attorney did not respond to questions about the client's email correspondence with Epstein or contradictions between those exchanges and her public statements. Trump appears in only a few emails, except for 3 minor instances. The emails do not mention President Donald Trump, who has said that his friendship with Epstein ended before Epstein was charged with sex crimes. He was stealing my underage masseuse. She was a great masseuse. She's fantastic. And they were recruiting at Mar-a-Lago, and I told him to stop, and he kept doing it, so I stopped being his friend because he was stealing my underage masseuse. Yeah, man, you're not involved in this at all. Jeffrey Epstein, he loves his social life and he loves the women. Some of them are on the younger side. I mean, I'm just saying, some of them are a little young. Maybe a little bit too young for me. I usually cut them off at 12. Epstein was charged with sex crimes. One exchange referenced Donald Trump came on September 14, 2006, 2 months after Epstein was charged in Florida with solicitation of a prostitute. It includes a list of 51 politicians, business executives, Wall Street power brokers. I thought there was no list. Pam Bondi said there was no list. There's nothing to see here, folks. What about these 51 politicians and power brokers and Wall Street guys? The list includes people who were previously been linked to Epstein, including Jimmy Kane, former chief executive of Bear Stearns, Jess Staley, who would later be named the CEO of Barclays, and Trump. Kane died in 2021. Staley did not respond to a request for comment. Please review a list and add or remove peeps. Maxwell wrote, remove Trump, Epstein responded. The pair discussed addition to the list and at least one other deletion. Bloomberg was unable to determine the meaning of this list. The email has no subject line or additional commentary, so it's impossible to know whether they were planning an event, preparing a holiday card list, or something. This is just more stupid fake news playing into the hands of the Democratic hoax, trying to link President Trump and Epstein. Honey, I would say the 400 plus pictures of those two guys together is more of a link than what I am saying or what anybody else is saying. Fake news, my ass. White House spokeswoman Abigail Jackson said, gift and payments. An account spreadsheet attached in 2007 email describes about $1.8 million in gifts and payments between 2003 and 2006. The document includes big ticket items, including a $71,000 Lexus that went to Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz, famous for, she gave me a massage, but I was wearing my underwear the whole time, I promise. It also indicates a $35,000 Audemars Piguet watch. I mean, $35,000 rich-ass watch that I will never see. I can't even pronounce it. Was for Doug Band, then the senior aide to former President Bill Clinton. An $11,000 Rolex watch was for Tom Barrack, the wealthy investor and longtime friend of President Donald Trump, who now the U.S. ambassador to Turkey. I guess that's why Eric Adams can't have the ambassadorship to Turkey, because it's one of Donald Trump's friends, Tom Barrack. Dershowitz told Bloomberg the vehicle was considered part of his legal fee. Band and Barrack said that they never received those watches. The spreadsheet also itemizes cash payments for women who were later identified as Epstein victims, as well as a small gift such as a laptop, an item from lingerie chain Victoria's Secrets. By the way, his biggest client was Lex Wexner, the CEO of The Limited and Victoria's Secret. So I guess that's where he was getting all of his lingerie from. He's getting billions of dollars, stealing billions of dollars from Wexner, and also, getting a discount on Victoria's Secret's lingerie for his underage girls? Oh my God. One victim received just over $75,000 in gifts. Attorneys for victims have said that Epstein weaponized his wealth to emotionally control and manipulate the victim. Anyway, there's a lot more to this article. I just wanted you guys to see that there is more shit just pouring out. No matter how hard Donald Trump tries to press this down, to avoid it, to pretend like it doesn't exist, to do his fascist playbook, trying to distract us with the radical left is out there, they're coming to Antifa, trans for everyone. They're all trying to get me. I'm such a victim. Don't pay attention to the Epstein thing. I mean, ultimately, that's what all of this shit has been, is just trying to distract the American public from seeing what's going on with this whole Epstein kerfuffle. Donald Trump has been friends with this guy for decades. It is obvious as the day is long that Donald Trump knew everything that Epstein was doing, and it was probably participating in it. But yet, no matter how many drips of constant, treasure troves of emails that come out, or new victims step forward and say, hey, he did the same thing to me. It was dozens and dozens and dozens of victims have come forward and said basically the exact same story over and over again, how they were groomed by Epstein. And many of them have said, oh yeah, I met Donald Trump too. He was there. But, they're doing everything they can to distract, but ultimately, they're not going to be able to put this cat back in the bag. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.